the promo that Taylor Hendricks and I did on Cody and Brandy Rhodes. We want to fight them in AEW. One match. That's it. I'm going to actually do a new promo on them next week. But if any fans out there want to be on the Hannibal TV, take a cell phone video of yourself giving your opinion on who would win that match and email it to greatnorthwrestling@gmail.com, because I believe I'm going to do a compilation video of all the fans that have been commenting. They want to see that match. So send me your videos, greatnorthwrestling@gmail.com. Who would win that tag team match? As I said, I want it to be a tag team match, so he doesn't have to worry that I will take his title if I would decide to shoot on him. I'm a former national champion amateur wrestler, Olympic trials silver medalist, Canadian Open winner in grappling, undefeated in kickboxing exhibitions. There's no doubt I could kick his ass in a shoot. There's no doubt Taylor could kick Brandy's ass. She's got her black belt. But I'm throwing the challenge out there because I want to expose the American chicken. But it's 9 o'clock now. I better get into my Wrestling Observer review. I'll start with the WWE news. Summerslam has not yet announced where their location is going to be. Vince McMahon does not want to do it in Orlando. He wants it to have a different look. We don't know if it's going to be in front of a crowd or not. We know there are states that allow events in front of crowds now. However, there has been no announcement on where it's going to take place. It's only about 3 weeks away. Apparently, SummerSlam might be actually taped live because for months and months now, WWE has not been presenting live television shows or pay-per-views. They've been pre-taping them, editing them, redoing parts of matches where there's screw-ups. That's where Edge allegedly got hurt in his greatest match ever that didn't even make the WWE's top 10 list as being the greatest match ever for the first part of 2020. They didn't even kayfabe that on their own top 10 list for the first part of 2020, which is hilarious. WWE announced that Nick Khan, who I do not believe is related to the other Khan family of AEW, going to be the new company president and chief revenue officer, replacing both George Barrios and Michelle Wilson, who were fired in January. Apparently, Khan is the one that negotiated the current Fox and NBC Universal TV deals for WWE that are huge, making them hundreds of millions of dollars, their main source of revenue. According to Meltzer, he believes, despite getting other offers, Rey Mysterio is going to end up re-signing with WWE. A lot of people believe this has a lot to do with the future of his son, that a lot of people also believe is not that talented. And I have to say, in the few segments I've seen of the son, they should put a mask on the son. That might help. As far as the WWE time now, since the pandemic started, but they're supposed to get back to training on August 10th, but not at the Performance Center because obviously it's set up for TV tapings now. So they're going to be taping at a warehouse nearby. Wouldn't it suck to be a development wrestler during the pandemic? You're hired to train to be a wrestler, but instead you have to be like an extra at the Raw and SmackDown tapings, standing around on your feet all day, pretending to be excited for the matches. Oh, that would just be absolutely brutal. As far as this Marty Jannetty murder situation, Jannetty, who is 60 and needs a Facebook breathalyzer system implemented to get on social media, in my opinion, confessed to allegedly killing somebody in 1973 when he was 13, working at a bowling alley. He's since deleted this post. I have interviewed him, by the way, on the Hannibal TV, one of my favorite interviews. Jannetty did an interview with Boston Wrestling that I didn't watch, but he went into more detail. I think it was just an audio clip where he said he'd been working at the bowling alley and knew the guy who worked as a clerk at the front desk of the bowling alley. The guy was a pot dealer, and that's why he met up with him. He had no idea the guy was luring children. He claimed that the guy fondled him, and he was in the man's car. When he tried to get out of the car, the guy got angry and pulled him into an alley behind the bowling alley and pulled his pants down. Jannetty said he was able to take a brick and hit the guy in the head with the brick and kill him. Didn't mean to kill the guy. Jannetty said he went through major trauma about being nearly raped and then accidentally killing someone. He claims he threw the guy's body into the river. He said that he saw news reports later of the guy. Why he was coming out and saying this shit is beyond me. TMZ confirmed with the Columbus, Georgia police that they would be investigating Jannetty's claims. This guy is quite a character. Let's hope he doesn't end up in jail out of that. In the case where the WWE investors are suing them in related to the WWE's dealings with Saudi Arabia, WWE tried to get the case thrown out, but the judge denied WWE's motion to dismiss the case. He accepted that there was enough in the allegations to be true. So that case is going to be going forward. Of course, we all know there's a lot of shady stuff that's been going on, allegedly, with WWE in Saudi Arabia, where they reportedly make somewhere around $50 million a show by putting on events there in that place that's way, way, way behind in the times as far as human rights go. Nikki and Brie Bella both gave birth one day after the next. Nikki gave birth July 31st, Brie August 1st. Neither has given out the names of the baby. It will probably be saved for the next season of their TV show. Congratulations to them. I don't have any issues with them. Brock Lesnar is selling his house in Alexandria, Minnesota for $850,000. It has 40 acres of land and a guest house. Melina, one of my favorite divas, her father unfortunately passed away. Very sorry to hear that. John Falsetta tipped me $2, says, sounds like Jannetty defended himself. I'll be perfectly honest. I don't believe the story at all. I believe that Marty Jannetty is losing his mind. Anthony Green and Leon Ruff, never heard of them, but supposedly they used to wrestle for Evolve that had like 30,000 YouTube subscribers. They've been signed to development deals, but Jeremy, who wrestles for Great North Wrestling and is an amazing talent, part of this YouTube channel that has almost 200,000 subscribers, 125 million views, doesn't get a fair look at. Same with Lady Yasmin. Lady Yasmin, she has so many hit videos and so much potential, but they're going to sign two nobodies from a company that went out of business. I bet you that's the work of this Seaman Cameron guy. That's an appropriate name for him because his taste in talent is about as worthwhile as a load of semen on the ground after you've just pulled out and let it rip on the floor or all over someone. A bankruptcy judge has approved the sale of the XFL to The Rock and his business partners, which include his ex-wife. They bought it for $15 million. The new owners believe that with Johnson's name value, they will be able to get a television deal that actually pays money. Vince McMahon didn't have a paying TV deal. He was expecting to lose money till he secured that, but they actually believe they're going to get a paying TV deal to fund the league by February 2021. They want to actually have the league going next year. Whatever The Rock touches turns to gold. I have a lot of faith in The Rock, and I did say he's the most popular wrestler of all time when I made an announcement of that sale a few days ago. People said, oh, Hulk Hogan is, Steve Austin is. I personally really like Steve Austin, but he is nowhere near the popularity of The Rock. Neither is Hogan. The Rock gets paid $1 million per Instagram post. He's a movie star, a television star. He has completely gone beyond wrestling and become the most He's actually the only wrestler today that could sell out any arena he wrestles on. You put Hulk Hogan on a show. Look at what they drew with TNA and Hulk Hogan. That was the beginning of the end for TNA when they wasted their money on that washed up has-been. In Raw news, hold on. Joshua Long tipped me $9.99 and wants my thoughts on Bigfoot. Thanks for the tip, Josh. That's a little off topic. I'm no expert on Bigfoot. I would require to research more on Bigfoot and some of those type of sightings to be able to give a better answer to you. I do like the song Yeti by Radiorama. It's a great song. Yeah, you know what, Josh? I'll do a video about Bigfoot in the future. I'm trying to get Survivor Man to do an interview with me, who is a big proponent of Bigfoot, and this is a guy that's been out in the wilderness, so I think he might be a credible guy to talk to about that. But I'm no expert on Bigfoot. I don't really research it. So Raw for July was down 36.2% in viewers overall from Raw the previous July, which is not good. That's the biggest year-to-year drop they've ever had. And keep in mind, there hasn't been much sports competition. What's going to happen when football comes back? Raw this past week, featuring the Raw Underground segment that a lot of people, I believe, tuned in for, including me, because I thought the rumor was it was going to be like Brawl for All, but no, they just want to pretend that these are real fights and that it's different than wrestling. It's not. It doesn't look real at all to me. There's a few submission moves thrown in, but I would have rather seen them do fake MMA soon. And I am going to stream the Conan interview live. The Conan interview is going to be streamed live. I did a test last night with Don Paz. I'm going to try to do live interviews from now on. I'm going to also try it again with Goldilocks from TNA next week, and Just Jesse, a UK promoter, to keep testing this live. Because I got new software that allows me to do that. So thanks, Tony, and everyone else that's tipped me. And I love the protein shake fun. I'm getting my size back. I'm getting big enough that I might actually be able to behead Cody Rhodes with one punch. I think I could actually decapitate Cody with one punch now. SmackDown did a 0.5 rating last week. Exactly half of what Fox was expecting of them when they signed the deal, but they seem to always get a 0.5, other than a few times they're in the 0.4s. NXT did a 0.2, and AEW did a 0.36 on Wednesday, which are both up numbers from previous weeks. The 0.36, something to do with that may have had to do with Eric Bischoff at the one-time appearance, but with the success of that segment, who knows? Abby Scott tipped me, I believe, he says, quite ironic if The Rock turns the XFL into a success when Vince was so desperate to be a success outside of wrestling. I agree. And I actually have faith in The Rock because Vince McMahon is 75 years old. He does not know what the young people want. The Rock is very in touch. He's very cool. He knows what people want to see. And he's one of the most famous people in the world. So Excalibur, who threw around the N-word a lot in the past, has been gone, and I guess he's going to be gone from AEW for 30 days, returning August 26th. Kevin Owens was in one video also saying the N-word with Excalibur, but apparently the WWE is taking no action over that, as it was prior to Owens being in the WWE. One thing's for sure, it's a highly distasteful and stupid angle. You're in front of 15 people in the garage, throwing around the N-word. Bad angle. Not a fan of PWG at all. Ariane Andrews, who I've done an interview with, also known as Cameron, who has appeared in AEW recently, has stated that she has not signed with AEW. She is still a free agent. And I like her, by the way. Sweet girl, but she's been out of wrestling for 4 years. So it's strange that they bring in people that haven't even been in the business for 4 years. Apparently, AEW is cutting back on the amount of extras they're bringing into their shows. I don't know who Pineapple Pete is, but Meltzer points out specifically here, Pineapple Pete was the biggest extra that they've been regularly bringing back that's no longer being brought back. Ronnie from Las Vegas tipped me $2 and says, Kevin Owens looks like he chugs maple syrup. I agree. He definitely looks like the guy that should be working at Wendy's on the fry thing because he's all greasy and huge pot belly, but whatever. They use him. I don't care, WWE. I actually want to see WWE fail. Some of you guys might think I'm crazy for saying that, but they've destroyed the wrestling business that I love. Keep using these fat guys. Keep using these Drew McDonald guys that break kayfabe every interview they do. More and more people are just going to stop watching, and other products are going to come out. Once Great North Wrestling is able to promote again after lockdown ends and all these restrictions ends, I'm going to put out my own product. There's other good products out there, but keep failing, WWE. It just puts a smile on my face. Apparently, Matt Hardy was legitimately hurt on Dynamite because Sammy Guevara threw a chair at his face and busted him open. He needed 6 stitches. That was not planned. 13 stitches. And apparently there were some people very upset at Sammy Guevara for doing that to Matt Hardy. He already had some heat on him, just getting back from suspension. We were just talking about me punching Cody, what would happen? It'd be a lot worse than 13 stitches. So if they don't like blood, maybe they don't want to book that match because it would be very bloody. And I can't even count the amount of stitches I've had. I think people are babies. I like the Montreal Canadians. Mexico wrestling is going to be returning imminently. In UK wrestling news, rollerball Mark Rocco passed away July 30th at 69. He was the original Black Tiger in New Japan. He feuded with Tiger Mask. A documentary on Adrian Street, who I have done an interview with on this channel, was released on August 4th. It's called You May Be Pretty, But I'm Beautiful, the Adrian Street story. I would watch that. If anyone has the link, send it over. Lance Storm apparently doesn't like intergender wrestling. There's been he's had some issues with it. It gets a lot of hits. There is an intergender match on this channel, Serpentina versus Chaz, that has like almost 8 million views. So as long as intergender wrestling gets a lot of hits, it's still going to happen. Yes, there are some perverts out there that, like the Joey Ryans of the world, that are going to use the intergender matches to just grope females or whatever. But for the most part, people are professional, and it's their choice whether or not they want to have intergender matches. I don't really have a problem with it, as long as it's believable and it's not Tessa Blanchard bumping Brian Cage around like a rag doll. China versus Eddie Guerrero, or China versus X-Pac, China versus Jarrett. I could actually see China beating Jeff Jarrett up in real life. That Serpentina versus Chaz match on this channel that has almost 8 million hits, she could unquestionably beat Chaz up in real life. I know them both personally. So as long as it's believable, I don't have an issue with it. It gets hits. Lance Storm is boring. He's a fucking boring wrestler to watch. He might be technical, but his viewpoints are very boring. And in my opinion, he's in the same category as Dean Malenko. I would rather seriously watch Divas have a pillow fight than a Lance Storm or Dean Malenko match. UFC news, their August 1st show did a 0.08 rating. Dana White has says Conor McGregor, is not going to fight again this year. He does say he's retired. Apparently he wants to box Manny Pacquiao or something. The pay sucks in MMA overall compared to boxing, so I can see why people are leaving MMA. Chris Lee, I'm just going to get into your questions. That's the Wrestling Observer review. Chris Lee says, my promo on Cody was fantastic. We need more passion like that. The problem is it probably scared him. He'd rather fight like another midget like Warhorse or another one of these little mini wrestlers than a real man that's actually trained to fight, unfortunately. Because you know what? I guarantee you that would get one of the biggest ratings of all time of AEW. It would pop a rating because I really don't like him. That's not a work. I think he's a spoiled brat. I think Dusty Rhodes is overrated. I think the whole Rhodes family are a bunch of cowards. Mr. Buno, would I ever do a shoot with Edge or CM Punk? Edge works for WWE. CM Punk, yes, I would, even though I don't like him. I'd rather actually fight him in MMA, to be honest. But I wouldn't say no because he is. It would get hits. I would ask him the tough questions, like why did you suck so bad at MMA after being trained by amazing trainers for years? Chad Thomas says, why did I do the job for Heidenreich? I'm a much better talent. I was 22 or 23, and I was paid $400 Canadian, and it was fun. There was like 10,000 plus people in the crowd, and I actually like Heidenreich personally. So I have no regrets. I beat him actually the following year after he was released by WWE. He was in WWC Puerto Rico, and I did beat him in WWC Puerto Rico. I did get that win back. Wrestling, you know what? Cody Rhodes, I wouldn't want a job for, but wrestling is a job. And yeah, it's just like acting. It's athletic acting. You do what you're told to do, especially when you're young and you just want to wrestle in front of 10,000 people. And I remember when Heidenreich hit me with that clothesline, he did stiff me. But I remember like the pop that it gave the crowd, and it sent chills down my spine to hear like the 10,000 plus explode like that. David Hughes says, is Jannetty in the same cell as Billy Jack? Wouldn't that be a great reality show? Marty Jannetty and Billy Jack in jail. Tig Welder says, Cody will never do it. Just in case I went into business for myself and squash him. Well, Tig, say that on video. Send it to greatnorthwrestling@gmail.com. I want you guys to give me your video testimony of what would happen if Cody Rhodes fought me. He could have Brandy and Arn in his corner. I can have Taylor and Billy Graham in my corner. Billy Graham, who, by the way, beat the crap out of Dusty Rhodes time and time and time again. You guys tell me who would win. Maria Davis says Cody does not want his butt kicked, and his wife, Brandy, doesn't want her butt kicked either. Brandy supposedly got off of Twitter, by the way, if that's actually news. Mike Dello says Dominic does not have talent. So sad, referring to Rey Mysterio's son. He says, put Dominic in a match against Seth at SummerSlam is an insult. I didn't even hear about that, but it seems like a cure for insomnia. Ronnie Las Vegas says, that's aren't working. Dr. Smith X says Jannetty claims he was 13 when it happened and the scumbag had it coming. As I said, I don't believe the story. I really don't believe the story. David Hughes says WWE is a wrestling footage organization now. Stick a fork in them. Alan Kesselman says, I wish Lady Yasmin would wrestle again. Hopefully she'll come around. She has a lot of fans. Hurricane Maverick says Marty is fired. Marty's brain is fried from all the drugs. Maybe he and Joey Ryan have something going on. I don't know. I don't think Marty is bisexual. I believe Joey Ryan is. Not that I have an issue with that. Do it all you want in the privacy of your own home. I just don't want to watch people grabbing each other's dick in wrestling. Not into it. It just makes me switch the channel. George South interview. Send me his contact information. I'd be open to it. Ivan Santos, the WWE Performance Center recruits are being paid to act like exciting fans. Yes, I agree. Underdog says The Rock can fund the XFL by just posting on Instagram. Yes, he can. And 15 grand to The Rock, which apparently he only put 15 million is like a couple pennies to us. The Rock has so much money. And yes, he could fund that easily, but supposedly he only put 5 million in. There's 3 investment teams, and he only put 5 of that 15 million in. Sniff says Bigfoot is a demon, just like the Greys. Everyone has these demon theories. Hurricane Maverick says he sent a message to Cody, but he hasn't responded. He's a pussy, probably wearing Brandy's skirt right now with high heels. Do a video, tell it saying that, and send it to greatnorthwrestling@gmail.com. Couple more questions here. Ivan Santos said Conan once smashed a guitar on top of Carlos Colon's daughter's head. Interesting. Sam Lenz says hire Dr. D to bounty hunt Cody. Make him sign that contract. Isban Arayo says he checked the Atlantic City press here, and there's nothing about SummerSlam being in Atlantic City locally. Interesting. Thanks for the update. Lunar Force says we keep up with all the wrestling TV programming. AJRX tipped me $2. I'm going to end at this. He says flirt with Brandy and make Cody mad enough. It's a funny idea. We're not there yet. We're only at the beginning. I don't have to resort to that. just yet. But the problem is she might actually be attracted to me, and then I'd be stuck with an issue of yet another girl that likes me that I'm not at liberty to go out with right now. I won't push it there just yet. So thanks for all your questions and comments. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend, everybody.